do it.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by Trinity women's hockey player Ann Levia. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Ann, and how's everything going?
Not too bad. The season's going well, school's going well, so I'm just really happy where I am.
Yeah, and obviously doing research on yourself, you guys start off your season in about a month. So how excited are you for the new season to begin, and what are your goals and expectations for it?
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm very excited. We have our first official practice on Saturday, so psyched to get into that. Yes, our season starts in a month. It's going to be hard, I should say, because the team we start playing against is Middlebury. So, of course, they're number one in our and like NESCAC league. So we're a little bit nervous, but I think our team looks really great. I have such high hopes. Just great team overall, and I expect really good things.
Yeah, and you obviously answered my next question, but has your team started practicing yet? And if so, I guess what are your thoughts on some of the new players that your team has and just what the team looks like overall?
Well, yeah, so I pretty much said that, but we've been doing captains practices, I'm sure, like most other teams in college. And I mean, first of all, kids are great. They're so fun. They're so nice. I mean, having a good attitude and good personality and good mindset about things always helps a little bit, but they are great players as well. So overall, like I said, just very, very excited to start the season because I really do have high hopes for our team.
And obviously, it must be weird for yourself to now be like an upperclassman. It's sort of weird how time has flown by since you started college. So, what type of leadership are you trying to bring to the team? Are you a vocal leader, lead by example type of player? Have you really even thought about that?
I mean, I have thought about that. I always want to be a leader in any situation. Some people honestly are just more built for it, for sure. You just have natural leaders. I have to work a little for it, but I like to say that I lead by example. That's my sort of thing. I mean, I'm verbal when I can be, but I do have captains, and that's not my job, so I don't want to step on any toes. But I'm a leader in my own way on the team, just like everyone else is.
Now, talk a little bit about your off season. What was that like for yourself, and what was like the biggest improvement you made to your game so far?
Wow. Okay. Off season is a little tough for me because of where I live. Ice is kind of hard to get. So luckily, I had a gym this year. It was sort of not a thing because of COVID for a couple of years, but cardio I think was my biggest improvement that I made to my game, and I don't know how to put it. I came back on the ice and I felt better. I just feel more responsive. I think I just took better care of myself, and I'm starting to see sort of the results of that.
Yeah, talk a little bit about like where you stay in during the off season, because it says that you're from Ontario, Canada, but doing research on your elite prospect page, it says that your nationality is Singapore. So I'm curious, like how if you live in Singapore or if that has anything to do with your off season by any chance, because it seems it's kind of weird to think that Ontario might not have a hockey rink during the summer.
Yeah. So, okay. So how it starts. I was born in Richmond Hill, Ontario, so just outside of Toronto. I lived there till I was about 11, was playing hockey. I think, for my age at the time, I was doing very well. I think I was expected to do really great things. And my dad got a job in Singapore. So we all moved to Singapore in 2011. I stayed there for about 4.5 years. I did also lose 4.5 years of development. So that was a little bit tough on me, but my love for hockey never changed. So when I got the opportunity, 4 years later, in the summer, I went to summer camp. I got the opportunity to come and play hockey for the Canadian International Hockey Academy. We call it CIHA. So that was really great. Of course, it was a hard thing to do, to leave my parents and my brother and, be independent at 15, 16 years old. But it's something I was really happy about. And then, I was there for half a year, and then I ended up going to the Ontario Hockey Academy, which I'm sure you know. And I was there for 4 years, and you know what? It was a tough time being there. I mean, obviously, you're playing hockey, working out all the time. Yeah, you're doing school. It's a lot, but it was a great experience. I made a lot of good friends, and I mean, I ended up at Trinity at my school of choice now. So like I said, I'm very happy. And yeah, yeah. Was there another thing I think about my off-season training in relation to that?
No, I was just curious if like you live in Singapore still, or are you now like currently residing in Ontario? And does that, I guess, talk about the challenges I guess you face living in Singapore, if that's the case, trying to train for hockey, because especially with the way things go now with the pandemic, that must be really difficult.
Yeah. So I don't live in Singapore. My parents still do. My
Yeah.
brother doesn't anymore. He's now in university. So I stay at my cottage in a small town called Bancroft, Ontario. I guess it makes my off season a little bit more tough, just because it's a small town. I'm pretty far away from a lot of things. So like an ice rink, it's pretty tough to get some ice around there, especially during the summer. And like I said, the gym, because of COVID, was shut down. So I just had to stick to at-home workouts. So that was a bit tough for my freshman and sophomore year, but I was really able to, get into it this summer with the new gym opening up and just busted my butt off. And yeah, so I was able to sort of come back looking good.
Yeah, so I'm a New England area. That's where I'm from, and I'm used to things being very close by. So it's definitely got to be an adjustment for someone like me to sort of go somewhere where not have the ability, I guess, to go to a rink that's close by, just because. So I think that's definitely something that a lot of people don't realize is just how tough things can be. But kudos to you for kind of making it all work. And I think what's the difference, I guess, do you notice different results doing at home workouts versus like working out in the gym? Like talking to other players, it seems like it's more like body weight based than like weight based. So I'm curious if you feel like you get more benefits from at home workouts than you do from at the gym, because a lot of the times, I guess, pliability with the muscles is kind of what prevents injuries. So I feel like there's some benefits you can get from at home workouts than versus doing stuff at the gym. But I know some people do prefer the gym than at home.
So personally, I prefer the gym just because I can, once I step foot in the gym, I'll be there for hours. I love the gym. I can grind. I work hard. At home, it's a little tougher because you really need to be disciplined and have like that mindset. If you want to get better, you got to make sure you do it yourself because it really all comes down to you. And so, I mean, at home workouts is more about maintaining yourself. I feel it's kind of hard to improve yourself. You can in certain ways, like, mobility and whatnot, but strength wise, obviously the gym is the best place to go. And personally, I'm no like super skilled superstar. So I'm a big body on the ice. I'm a defender. I like to use my body. So for me, it's all about strength. Therefore, I love going to the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, kind of diving more into the beginning of your hockey career. So, did you have a favorite player growing up? And if so, who might have that been?
Hey, now that's a hard question just because I lived in Singapore and hockey is kind of hard to get down there. Um, oh gosh. I don't really think I had a childhood hockey like, star that I really looked up to, if I'm being completely honest.
Hmm.
But I really do like Mitch Marner. I mean, he's not a defenseman, but I really like how creative he is. He's a goal scorer, but he also makes plays happen. So I just really appreciate that kind of player, and hopefully that's someone I can become in the future.
Well, I don't know if you've been reading recently, but he might be a defenseman. They've been using him as a defenseman in practice for like a different power play scheme. So it might work out for you. You might be able to see him as a defenseman sometime.
Perfect. Awesome.
Now, obviously you said you moved to Singapore when you were 11 years old. I guess you said how it hurt your development since you couldn't play hockey for 4 years. So I guess talk about the challenges regarding that, like not being able to play hockey for 4 years and then kind of coming back to it, and how that all worked out for yourself.
Well, I can remember that quite vividly, actually. So, I mean, there was some hockey in Singapore. I was able to, get on the ice for about 2 days a week. One was sort of skills, I guess you could say, and the other practice was a scrimmage. Like I said, it didn't really help. It's something that, we practiced on. I didn't get that consistent. We weren't that competitive either. So I really think it was, with time and without the proper training, I just sort of declined. And coming back to Canada, it was definitely a wake up call, to say the least.
Yeah.
it was a shock to see how much of a difference there was. Yeah, I was in shock, but at the same time, I guess I used it as motivation. I was behind everyone, but like I wasn't gonna let that get me down. So I just really, like I said, I bust my ass off, and that's what I try to do.
Yeah, there was a Derek Jeter quote one time where he was like, someone might be more talented than you are, but that doesn't give you excuse to not work harder than that person. So that's definitely a quote I like to live by. So I feel like you do as well, based on your experience, just talking with you as of right now.
That's exactly, I like to go by that every day if I can.
Now, what is the hockey like in Singapore? Because I didn't think there was any, to be honest with you. And the only thing I know about Singapore was like you can't chew gum there. That's like a law? I don't know if that's true or not. If that's just like a fairy tale.
So that's funny. Everyone brings that up to me when they ask me about Singapore. So thing about gum is you're not allowed to like spit it out on the ground. That's like polluting, and Singapore is very clean. So if you're caught doing that, you will get fined. You will get fined 100%. But you're allowed to bring it into the country and use it for your own consumption. You are not allowed to sell it. But other than that, yeah. So it's not illegal, but you can get in trouble if you don't throw it away properly. Yeah.
Now, obviously, before college hockey, you played for the Ontario Hockey Academy. How did you get the opportunity to go there?
Um, so when I was at CIHA, the program abruptly sort of was like stopped. I'm not sure why. I don't think there was funding, and I think they decided to focus more on the guys' side of hockey. But I was able to get a recommendation from the head coach who brought me there, and I was able to use that to sort of talk to OHA and Stansted College as well to see what fit my vibe better. And that's kind of how I got into OHA. Is they were like, oh, well, someone thinks she has potential, I guess. And they were like, okay, we'll take her. So yeah, that's how I ended up there.
And I sort of just thought of this question now, but I want to backtrack a little bit. What made you made the decision to go back to Canada and play hockey with that academy? Was it like something you've just begged your parents to do, or was it sort of just something that led to that decision?
So okay, so hockey has always been something I enjoy. I love it. So every time I go back in the summer from Singapore, I would try to go to hockey camps, and one of them was at CIHA, and I guess I had talent or something because the head coach there saw me and came down to talk to me and my dad and said, "Well, we have a spot for you here if you would like to." And I thought really hard about it, and since I loved hockey and it was something I wanted to pursue, especially like at collegiate level, I said yes, and that's how I ended up back in Canada.
Now, talk about your experience with Ontario Hockey Academy and what's like the best memory you have with that program.
Um, well, how do I put it? I think I just had a really good time with my teammates. I mean, I think OHA was a little bit of a rough patch for me personally. A lot of people have had great experiences. I would rather say that I didn't. But at the same time, it helped me grow as a person, as a player. So I can't really say anything because it got me where I am. And I think my favorite memory is winning the championship with my team when we were in, oh gosh, where's that famous, oh my God, this is so bad as a hockey player, I should know this. Miracle on Ice, wherever that took place, I played in that arena and we won a championship there. So that was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was there any reason why the experience what you view as negative? Or was it just, I don't know, just like a tough period in your time, just being away from home and things like that?
I think it was just a tough period of time for myself. I think I was growing into the person I am now. So I feel like it was a little bit just tough for me to sort of get along with people, make new friends. I feel like I was a bit more shy then. So it kind of made my experience a little tougher. And hockey, I mean, they like to play, they want to win. And I think at my level, I wasn't super skilled. Like I said, I was someone who just works hard. And I feel like just because of that, I didn't play as much as I would have hoped to. And I think that's why I got a little bit upset about my whole situation there. But like at the end of the day, overall, I really did have a good time, and I really just grew as a person. And without them, I really would not be the person I am today. So in a way, I really do have to thank them.
Now, talk a little bit how that experience helped prepare you for college hockey with Trinity, because obviously, I feel like in some ways it may have taught you to, I guess, like find ways to be closer with your teammates now and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious, like how that experience helped prepare you for where you are today.
Well, okay. So academically, it did because we had to be up at 7 a.m., or maybe earlier. We had 7:20 class, and it was just a long day. We did not finish from 7 a.m. in the morning till 7 p.m. at night, and then study hall. So in that sense, it got us ready academically, I'd like to say, and physically, like I said, we worked out every day. So it was great. And that's kind of what got us sort of ready. I mean, I don't think anyone can get you completely ready for like college, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It's never going to be you can't really formulate the same sort of situation in a high school. Like it doesn't work that way, in my opinion. But yeah.
Yeah, unless you're like your Jack Eichel or someone like that, it's usually pretty difficult to kind of step into college hockey and just dominate. So, and one thing I do want to ask you, because it says in your bio that you were the valedictorian, so that's pretty cool. How'd you like? I'm very interested in people who are really good in academics because I think it's such a hard thing to do, and I really admire people like that because I think people don't understand the hard work that takes behind the scenes to have a lot of achievements academically. So how did you like balance your hockey and school life and make that happen? Because that's really cool.
Thank you. And you know what? It was tough. It wasn't easy, that's for sure. But for me, academics has always been a priority. My dad used to use it as a threat to bring me back to Singapore unless I got A's in all my class. So that's kind of where I was. I just was like, oh God, I don't want to leave. I love hockey. I want to be here. So I really just worked my butt off, and I try to pay attention. That's the biggest thing. You can take notes as long as you pay attention in class, and you're pretty much set. Honestly, just I don't know. That was my opinion on that. And I hate losing. I really hate losing or getting bad marks or losing to other people. So when in class, if I wasn't, the highest mark, that just kind of grinded my gears. So I just worked a little bit harder to, be the best I could be. And I guess it paid off because they chose me to be their valedictorian, which was terrifying, by the way. I was so nervous, but it was a great experience. Very happy.
Good speech though, overall, would you say?
I hope so. So my grandfather said it was good, so I'll take his word on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no. I think that's so cool because math, I can pay attention to that and I would still never understand some of this subject matter. So there's certain subjects where I can pay attention, I just don't get it whatsoever. But luckily I'm done with my math experience. I found a way to pass. So that's all that counts for me. So I was happy about that. That's like the best academic achievement that I've ever had.
But I feel that. Thank God math is done. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah. Now talk about your recruitment process to Trinity and what made that the school for you.
So it's actually quite funny. I was talking to Yale before going to Trinity. I mean, I was probably going to be a bench warmer until, maybe my junior, senior year. You got to work for your spot. And my academics, like my SATs, because SATs are a big thing here in the States. It's not in Canada. I didn't want to go to a school in the States. I was like, no, I want to stay at home in Canada. And so every time I took the SATs, I never really put much effort into them. So if I got a couple more points, I would have gone to Yale, but I didn't. And since Mark, the head coach of Yale, knew the head coach here at Trinity, Keith, he sent over, he emailed him and said, hey, I have this kid. I think she's great. I think you should take her. And I guess that's what happened. He took me and I was very happy about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And don't worry about the SAT. I think it doesn't really accurately reflect someone's academic score. So I'll defend you on that.
Okay. Well, thank you. Needed that.
Now your freshman year you didn't play because of COVID. So how did you like handle that season of filling the void of not playing hockey because a lot of other teams did play that season. So it must have been tough for you as an athlete to see other teams play and you weren't able to do that.
Yeah, it was tough. We didn't have a season. We did get some like scrimmages idea kind of games in, exhibition, if you will. And it was tough because I came in, really wanting to play, but at the same time, freshman year was a blur because of COVID. It sucked. And I wish in a way that I maybe should have saved that year and came my sophomore year. So I would have been a freshman my sophomore year, just so I got 4 full years of full on hockey, but it is what it is. And we just on like off ice grinded and came back the next year. We did pretty well. And yeah.
Yeah, became a Zoom academic weapon, which is very tough to do.
Zoom, like, oh, Zoom sucks, if I'm being honest. That was tough.
I didn't mind it because like you could just wake up and go to class, but the only thing that I hate about was the breakout rooms that every professor loved to put you in because no one would talk to each other. So it'd be like super awkward being in those.
Zoom is where I find it really hard to focus because there's so
Mhm.
many distractions. When you're in class, you kind of need to put your phone away, right? You don't want your teacher seeing that. But on Zoom, I can just do this. I could be on my phone right now and no one would
Yeah. Yeah.
that. So
No, I get it. I feel like I've done a lot better in school since it's been back in person. So I get with you on that. Now, I guess talk about your conference that you play in because a lot of our listeners probably might not know about D3 hockey and specifically the conference you play in, but it's pretty good. Obviously, you mentioned that Middlebury's in it and they are the recent national champions. So it must be a very tough conference to play in.
it is hard. It's really hard. It's a lot harder than, and it's a lot better hockey than I think a lot of people think it is. And so, yeah, it's not Division 1, but we work hard. We play against really good teams. It's really tough. It's really tough, especially playing really good schools like Colby and Middlebury. Those are my top two that I really am like, oh, those were hard. Those were good games. But like, I don't know what else to say other than it is good hockey. So, I mean, just because we're Division 3, don't look down on us would be the best way to put it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
we really do work hard. So yeah.
I don't think a lot of people realize how hard it is to make Division 3 athletics. Like it's not like something like, oh, like you can just like sort of like find a way to get on a team. Like it's very difficult, especially in hockey because there's such few teams to be had. So roster spots are hard to come by.
Exactly. And just recently we were talking about how only 5% of high school students actually end up in the position that we're in. So, I mean, that should be saying something, right?
Absolutely. What's the best barn in your conference? Is it obviously you're gonna say your barn, but is there any cool ones that you get to play in?
Okay, so we didn't get to do a lot of traveling just because of COVID, and we only played 1 year, and most of the teams came to us. So this year we're going to be going a couple places. So, gosh, what was the coolest barn we went to? Um, Yikes, I am blanking. I honestly, none of them stick out to me, but I know the Middlebury one apparently is really nice. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Is that the game you're looking forward to the most? Just because it's the first game against the Natty champs, looking to pull off the upset and then head home.
I know it. That's the whole point. Our field hockey team here just finally beat them, and that just tore their streak. They had like 4 years straight wins. So really happy about that. Hopefully we're next. So I'm excited. Really.
What's what's your barn like? Is it old school or is it sort of like a newer one?
I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's super new, but it's small. It's small. It's not very big. We only have like stands on one side, no jumbotron. I wish we did.
Typical mass, yeah.
Yeah, typical. And I mean, we are in Hartford, like downtown Hartford, Connecticut. So not a lot of space to make a ginormous rink, but yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's
You make
okay.
it
I
work.
like it. Yeah,
Has character. That's what you're looking for with a rink like that. So
exactly. I really wish we did have a room where we had a net so I could practice shooting. That would have been sick, but we're working on that.
you can just do it in the visiting locker room when teams aren't there.
Exactly. Trash the rooms.
Yeah. What was your sophomore year like though? Like, what'd you take away from your first year of college hockey, playing college hockey?
Oh, okay. So my sophomore year was a really big year for me. I, like I said, I think that's when I really realized I wanted to be a really good player. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to really show people because I feel like I've been put down a lot in my lifetime playing hockey. You know, everyone's like, oh, you're not good enough. You'll never play Division 3. Well, look at me now. But so I just really went from being second, third line, and I really did work my butt off. I'm could pat myself on the back. I'm really proud of myself, but I worked my way up to first line, and yeah, it was a great year. I was really happy. I was playing hard. And I think this year, I'm going to be better. I think I'm going to be better. I'm going to perform better. So, yeah.
Are you trying to put more points on the board, try to be more of an offensive defenseman?
Yes. And that comes with confidence. That's something, I mean, I feel like most players struggle with, obviously more so players, but yes. And it is something I've been really trying to work on, because I mean, you need an offensive defenseman. I want to be someone who can help the teams in other ways than just being defensive. So yeah, that is hopefully what I can do, is be a offensive defenseman this year.
And obviously, I feel like when you just shoot the puck at the net, it usually hits something and finds way in sometimes. So sometimes it's puck luck, I feel like.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it is all luck. It really is.
Yeah. Well, how do you balance, I guess, academics and hockey in college? Is it different than high school?
Yes, I guess the first 2 years are a little tough. I mean, you have, they're all the random sort of stuff, right? You're taking all that like math and social sciences, humanities. So it's just, I think it's easier now as a junior, and it will be as a senior as well, just because we get to pick our classes and it's a lot more of a schedule we get to pick for ourselves. Therefore, I can better sort of like hold myself together, if you know what I mean. I pick everything so it sort of works out, and it really is just about being on top of yourself, because trust me, you really don't want your academics to drop. That'll kick you out of practicing easy, like just like that. So stay on top of yourself.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that people don't realize about college athletes is I think you have to have a certain grade to be able to play and practice. So I think people just assume that, like, when they think of athletes, like, oh, they just skip class, they don't care. But in reality, that's the complete opposite. It's much harder to be an athlete because you have to learn how to balance both your sport and academics, and you have to find a way to be good enough in academics to play. So I think that's always a narrative that I don't like very much, because I think it's untrue in so many ways.
I completely agree with you. Yep.
What's the best part about being a Trinity women's hockey player?
My teammates. I love my teammates. This has been the best group of people I've had the privilege of working with and just being friends with, supporting them supporting me. So I think that's the best thing, I couldn't have asked for anything better, if I'm being honest.
Now, do you want to do a segment I like to call the non-hockey segments, just so people can get to know you a little bit more and some of your teammates?
Of course. Shoot.
Now, the Bruins just released their new third jersey. They're bringing back the Pooh Bear. I think it looks awesome. I'm super excited for it. So I have to ask, what's like your favorite old school hockey jersey?
I was just looking at these today. You know what? I like the Rangers. I'm not like the retro, or was it the reverse retro jerseys is what
I
they
don't
are?
know. I feel like they're the same name, but they just switched it up. Like, it was reverse retro last year. Now it's retro reverse this year. I don't know, but I just know, like, I find it cool.
I really liked, I really like the New York jerseys, and I kind of like the Seattle ones too, because I think they glow in the dark, which is pretty funky. Or Vegas, was it? Anyways, but I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I know they're kind of having a rough spot, but like I'm from Toronto. What can I say? So I'm biased. I do like the Leafs jersey the best.
The Leafs jersey looks exactly the same though as the other alternates. So that's why I can't like choose that one. I'm not trying to be biased or anything. If it's a good jersey, it's a good jersey. So like Detroit has one of the best jerseys in the NHL, but their retro reverse this year was terrible. So I feel like I like to say I'm pretty not biased in regards to these new jerseys that come out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want to be biased, but it's just in me, man. It does look the exact same for the Leafs jersey, but like I said, I do like the New York jersey, or like
Yeah. Do you like the Bruins one? I think it's cool. I'm sorry.
you know what, the Bruins are cool. You know what? They're a really good team. I mean, I don't like them because they kick their ass all the time. So, but you know what, they're a great team, and I do like the jerseys a lot. So I can't crap on them for that.
You can't blame the Bruins for Toronto's Game 7 struggles. That's Toronto, not the Bruins. I'm have to be on you on that because I don't know how you blow a 4-goal lead, but you know what? It's one of the best hockey memories I've ever had as a kid. I remember jumping around the basement when Bergeron scored that goal. So,
For you, I was crying. Oh. Oh, anyways.
who is the funniest teammate that you have at Trinity?
Oh, you know what? I think Claire Kennedy is the funniest. She's just witty. She's just got something to say and it's funny all the time. So I really like Claire for her jokes. They're really good.
Who
Yeah.
has the best style on the team?
Oh, Sky.
Besides yourself, obviously.
I don't know. The bubble scares me. I can't tell if it's good or bad. But Scully, Olive Skull, or Jenny Guider. She's great. I like both their styles. I think they look really good on the ice. They look like big, just like Jenny's a pretty like small gal, but she looks big. And I like that about her. And she looks good on the ice.
I was a bubble guy too. I like it personally because I feel like it's easier with your peripheral vision. So I'm all in for the bubble. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, I just sometimes it fogs up on me and that just
Yeah.
crap out of me. But other than that, it's great. Love
Do you
it.
guys do like pregame outfits before the game, or is it more just and who shows up to the best of the rink for that?
Um, I'm gonna be biased. I want to say me because I love putting together game day outfits. It's great. It's so fun. But Scully's got really good outfits too. So I mean, if I had to pick someone else, definitely Scully. Definitely.
Yeah.
But we only dress up for home games usually just because we're on a bus for like 5, 6 hours and no one wants to be in, full up dressed up and in a bus for 5 hours. So
I'm jealous of you women's hockey players because you guys have more freedom to wear what you want. Where it's for us, it's more just like suits and that's it. But I think the suit look is a classic. You can't go wrong with it. So I feel like if you're a women's player, if you mess up, like it's more easily noticed.
exactly. It is. I mean, we do look good. We look formal, it's nothing,
Yeah.
but I mean, I like wearing suits sometimes. So I'll pull up in the suit.
Awesome. You know what? If next home game we gotta see that because we in college hockey talk do pregame outfits of the week. So I kind of want you to be considered for one of those. So I think that'd be kind of dope if you pulled up in a suit for a game.
Sure. I'll take so many pictures. Don't worry.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, one more, or I guess two more non-hockey questions. One is if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. Who would I have lunch with? I would have lunch with. I would have lunch with Austin Matthews. I don't know why.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, he's a great player and he's really good, but I want to learn a little bit about him and his perspective on things because I feel like I could take that and put it into my game.
I feel like you two can relate on growing up in interesting places because he's from Arizona playing hockey. You played in Singapore in hockey. So I think that would be a cool connection that you two might have.
Exactly. There we go.
I'll probably pick Wayne Gretzky because I would love to hear just like his old school hockey stories. I think he's a very interesting guy.
That would be freaking awesome. I like that.
Now, last non-hockey question. Do you have the best hair on the team? Because I like to say that you do. That was like I thought that was, I had to ask that.
Yes, but we do have another redhead on the team. So I don't know. I love my hair. I want to say yes, but
You two have the best hair on the team then?
exactly. Redheads always win with the best hair. Love it.
Awesome. Well, do you have any shout outs you want to give to any of your teammates, family members, or friends
Yeah, I
that might
mean,
be listening?
I will obviously I want to give a shout out to all my teammates. Like, let's go, guys. We got this. Especially the 8 that I live with. They're awesome. And I mean, I want to give a shout out to my parents. Without them and being supportive, I wouldn't be here today. So really happy about that. Shout out to my boyfriend. He's great.
Awesome.
Also very supportive, just he makes my life happy here when, sometimes it can get you down. So definitely got to give a shout out to him. And yeah, that's pretty it.
That's good. That's good. You know, that's your job as a boyfriend to help out your partner. So shout out to him for that. And I guess one more question I want to ask you is do you want to promote anything? Do you have anything you want to talk about for your team? Like the floor is all yours. You can talk about whatever you want. So
I don't really know about much that's going on, but get into D3 hockey. It's fun. It's awesome. It's good stuff. So I mean, hopefully you guys will watch us play, Middlebury. Those will be really fun games. Hopefully we give them something to fight for. So yeah, that's all. That's all I really got.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and for coming on the pod. I really do appreciate your time. It means a lot to myself, and I'm the goal for this podcast is obviously I like having players from everywhere on, and I felt like I was lacking on having Division III players on. So hopefully this podcast will help promote Division III hockey and promote your team. So I really appreciate you taking time and doing that for me. It means a lot.
Of course, of course. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Well, I just ended the